is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
It is 5 o'clock here on your Thursday. Good morning to you. I'm Lauren Casey.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. Here's what's making headlines on this March 19th. As more cases of COVID-19 are reported in Indiana and across the country, more businesses are closing as a precaution. Automakers now shutting down factories, what they're doing to help employees.
The coronavirus is impacting how Hoosiers can exercise, what you can do to stay in shape while maintaining social distancing.
And schools across Indiana still closed, leaving some children in need of food. How a unique project in Plainfield is helping provide kids with a healthy meal. But first, we do need to get a check of your Storm Team 6 forecast.
That's right, and you heard the sound. It's a Storm Team 6 alert day on this spring day. Todd Clausen is standing by with what we need to watch out for today.
Yeah, you know, there's quite a bit going on today. It's quiet right now. That's the good news if you have to commute into work here this morning, as we're not going to be dealing with any rain. The rain that we are expecting is off to our west. It's right here in central Missouri. This is going to be heading in our direction. With it, it's going to come some heavier downpours, but no severe weather, at least initially, when that batch of rain arrives. It's really later on this evening, eventually into the early morning hours, that we will have the potential for seeing some strong to severe storms across the area. So it's a 1-2 punch that heads our way. Do not become complacent when that first round moves through with no severe weather. 53 right now in Bloomington, 55 in Bedford, 42 in Peru. These warmer temperatures will continue to make their way to the north. We'll climb up into the low 60s here this afternoon. Then we'll continue to warm. We'll see our high temperatures today occur close to midnight, and that's going to be right around 70 degrees in many locations. But the main issue will be the threat of severe weather. Wind's the highest threat, but can't rule out the chance of some hail and even a few isolated tornadoes across parts of the area. More on that coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, and you may run into a little fog if you have to drive into work this morning. Here's a look at I-69, State Road 37. This is up in Fishers. You can see the reduced visibility there. Looks like the road's very quiet through that spot this morning, so that is good news if you're heading out the door early. Of course, we'll continue to monitor your roads and the conditions out there outside, and we'll keep you updated this morning.
Federal, state, and city officials are working to help curb the economic crisis caused by the coronavirus. Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb is scheduled to speak today over the latest impacts to the Hoosier state. Right now, Indiana has a total of 39 confirmed cases. 9 more were announced yesterday from Fayette, Hamilton, Hendricks, Jennings, Lake, Madison, Marion, and Clark counties. A Tippecanoe County resident who is currently visiting Florida has also tested positive for COVID-19. According to the county's health department, the patient started showing symptoms while in Florida and is in stable condition.
Indianapolis-based pharmaceutical company Eli Lilly is going to begin testing coronavirus samples to help speed up Indiana's results. They announced that they would partner with the Indiana State Department of Health and the FDA for this testing. Company officials say they are also working to develop a drive-through program. Eli Lilly is not accepting money from government agencies, hospitals, or insurance companies during this process. The company's chairman says that this is a contribution the company is making to this community.
Ford, General Motors, and Fiat Chrysler are all temporarily stopping production across North America. There are 4 GM plants in Indiana: Fort Wayne, Bedford, Marion, and Kokomo. GM and FCA have not given a time frame for when they may reopen. Ford is shutting theirs down through the end of the month. Union auto worker leaders confirm that employees will get unemployment benefits plus about 88% of their normal base pay. Honda has also announced they're closing their plants through the end of the month. That includes their plant in Greensburg.
City governments are stepping up to help workers who are impacted by this outbreak. Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett announcing that the Indy Chamber is working to offer more resources to give emergency assistance to small businesses. They're partnering to create a rapid response hub for business owners. Owners can go to response.indychamber.com to access resources. The goal is to help business owners and entrepreneurs navigate the uncertainty this pandemic has caused, but the mayor admits this initiative can only do so much.
This effort alone is not nearly enough funding to fully address the emergency needs of our small business community. The business losses alone will be in the hundreds of millions.
Mayor Hogsett says that Indianapolis is in a position to get federal funding through disaster loan assistance. He's encouraging small businesses to prepare and gather documentation needed to apply for federal relief.
With most gyms and fitness facilities in Indiana being closed, a lot of us are finding it hard to stay active and maintain a healthy lifestyle while also social distancing. Our Kelsey Anderson joins us this morning with what you can do from the comfort of your own home.
Well, a lot of us right now are social distancing. Gyms are closed, but we have all this time at home and we still want to stay active, not only for our mental health, but also for our physical health. And I'm here with two exercise specialists from Hancock Wellness, and they're going to show us how we can do some workouts here in our own houses.
Yeah, so we're going to take you through just a few exercises. So we're going to start out with just an upper body exercise. So real simple, we're going to go into our push-up. So Cody's going to get down on the ground. Hands are right under his shoulders, feet are about shoulder width apart. He's going to control his chest down towards the floor, keeping his elbows in, pushing himself back up to the top, and going to repeat until he reaches close to failure. So that could be 10 reps for somebody, it could be 20 reps for somebody, but a little bit lighter weight, lighter resistance. Then we're going to move into a lower body exercise. So we're actually going to use the couch here. He's going to put his shoulder blades right at the edge. He's going to push through his heels. He's going to bring his hips up and squeeze his butt muscles at the top and then control back down. So this is a hip thrust. And then what I'm going to have Cody do, I'm going to have you bring one leg up, go single leg. So good way to kind of incorporate your glutes, your hamstrings, and a little bit of your quads. And then the very last piece, we're going to have just a full body exercise. So I'm going to give Cody these dumbbells here. If you don't have dumbbells, you can really use anything else that has weight. He's going to bring them to the top of his shoulders. He's going to squat down and then come up and press up overhead at the top. Just a good full body exercise, incorporating multiple muscle groups.
Perfect. And of course, you can use other pieces of equipment in your house, whether it be, milk jugs or cans of soup or anything like that. And of course, a lot of gyms right now are also offering online classes, whether it be on Facebook Live or if they're through their app. So if you are someone who's already a member of a gym, you can of course utilize those. But if you're not, you can utilize these exercises that Cody and Erica gave us today. For now, send it back to you in the studio.
Kelsey, thank you. People across central Indiana continue to step up and work together to help their fellow neighbors in need during this crisis. One Indianapolis woman is connecting people who need assistance with people who are ready to volunteer their time. Alicia Baker created an online sign-up sheet using zip codes to match residents. So far, more than 700 people all across the city have signed up.
One of them I was really excited about was an older woman, and she was looking for someone to just check in on her and then possibly in the future deliver groceries. So I said, okay, well, we have this volunteer who signed up. Her name is so-and-so. And she's like, oh my gosh, I know her. I've seen her walk by with her dog. She's so nice. Oh, I'm so excited. So that's really the point of this whole thing, is that we're pairing neighbors with neighbors to not only support one another now, but also provide support in the future.
Wow, what a great idea. Baker says volunteers are working to be careful when they deliver groceries and other items. They drop them off on the porch to eliminate contact. They also sanitize bags and boxes once they're dropped off. She is now working with others to create a list of resources.
Very cool. Well, as school districts across Indiana are adjusting to e-learning, they're also finding ways to get food to those kids. Our Alyssa Donovan is joining us live this morning. And Alyssa, we know you spoke with one district who's doing this in a pretty unique way. And we're having some audio issues with Alyssa. We're going to get back to her as soon as we get that fixed. We want you to know that there are a lot of organizations and resources offering to help Hoosiers during this pandemic. You can find that information and the latest on this outbreak anytime. It's all on our website, theindychannel.com/coronavirus. Here at 5:08, we want to take a turn now to our forecast. It's also a Storm Team 6 alert day, Todd.
Yeah, second alert day in a row. This one's a little different than yesterday. Yesterday, we were in alert mode just for some basic rain that moved through. Today, we have the potential for severe weather. So you heard that beep. That's the exact same sound that you would hear if you have the Storm Shield app downloaded. Storm Shield, a great tool to have, especially with the severe weather threat we have today, because it's going to be late tonight and then into the overnight hours. And so that would wake you up, serve as your weather radio, and it's completely free. Rain chances do ramp up by late morning, though. As that happens, that will not be severe. That's just a round of rain that's coming through. The severe threat would be later on this evening, with more in the way of isolated storms making their way through the area. Here are the clouds that are making their way into central Indiana right now. This is that first round of rain that arrives by the noon hour. The severe threat is probably starting after 7, 8 o'clock this evening. Temperatures today mild in the 60s and 70s. 70s. Again, Storm Shield, great tool to have. You can even use the radar feature on that to track the rain in this afternoon. And best of all, it is free. No excuse not to have it as we kind of ramp up severe weather season here across central Indiana. We'll talk more about the threats for later on this evening coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. A Central Indiana school board held a quick meeting to decide the future of a teacher accused of sexual misconduct. Coming up, the action they decided to take against Tri-West coach Tyler Bruce.
And President Donald Trump has approved a new law bringing relief to those affected by the coronavirus outbreak. Still ahead, the financial help that could be available to you and your family.
Little Things, new tonight on ABC.
As school districts across Indiana adjust to e-learning, they're also finding ways to get food to their kids. We want to go back to Alyssa Donovan, who's live with us this morning. We know, Alyssa, you spoke with one district who's doing this in a really unique way. Tell us more about it.
That's right. Good morning, Lauren. Plainfield School District has around 35% of their kids who depend on school for their daily meals. Now, since school is closed, they still want to cater to those kids as well as any others in the community that are trying to figure out where they're going to get their meals during this time, which is why they're using their Quaker Break food truck. Now, this is a food truck that is a mobile feeding unit now for Plainfield Community School Corporation. It's a refurbished school bus, and it's normally used for a life skills class for high school students. Students learn customer service skills, counting change, and selling snacks and drinks. But with the COVID-19 impact, the bus wasn't being used. So now it's back on the streets, bridging the gap for families during this challenging time.
Sack lunches that include a breakfast for the next day to any student, pre-K through high school, anybody who needs it. It's free, no questions asked. You don't have to be providing assistance. It is for any student in Plainfield.
And the bus is one of 4 mobile feeding units the school district has out in the community right now. There are 17 stops total, and that bus will be out the rest of this week and into next week. And then Plainfield schools actually have their spring break week, and after that, they tell me they'll be reassessing if there's still a need for these sack lunches in the community. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. We have more on the coronavirus coming up, but first, a big development in a story RTV6 has been following now for months. The Northwest Hendricks School Board has terminated Tri-West High School teacher and coach Tyler Bruce. Bruce was accused of sexual misconduct with a then 16-year-old student. Police arrested him earlier this year after a months-long investigation. The board voted within the first minute of a 4-minute-long meeting. Brad Williams, the board member who is Bruce's uncle, abstained from voting. Bruce was on unpaid suspension with the district, but spent months on paid leave, which led to major backlash in the community. Bruce is charged with child seduction and obstruction of justice. He denies the allegations.
At 5:15, President Donald Trump has now signed a law to bring relief to American families dealing with the coronavirus. It was approved by the Senate and signed by Trump yesterday. The new law will provide workers with up to 2 weeks of paid sick leave if they're being tested or treated for COVID-19. Those who have been told to stay home by doctors or government officials are also eligible. Workers with family members affected and whose children's schools have been closed can receive up to 2/3 of their pay. The Senate is now working on building a $1 trillion economic stimulus package.
Congress is seeing its first 2 cases of coronavirus. Utah Representative Ben McAdams announced last night he has tested positive. He says he will continue to work from home until the end of his self-quarantine. Florida Representative Mario Diaz-Balart also announced he has the disease. His office says he developed a fever and headache Saturday, but is now feeling better. He began self-quarantining in Washington last Friday. At least 15 Congress members are also isolating themselves as a precaution. Some lawmakers in the House of Representatives are asking to vote remotely. In a letter to congressional leadership, they asked for a rule change to allow it. While House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell have taken steps to reduce the risk to lawmakers, both remain opposed to letting them cast votes electronically from home.
The TSA says it's allowing some passengers to go through security with expired driver's license. They announced a new grace period on Twitter, saying that travelers whose state license expired beginning March 1st can still use those IDs days to pass through security checkpoints. The TSA says it's because some people have not been able to get their license renewed amid the coronavirus outbreak. It will accept the expired license after a year after the expiration date, plus 60 days after this national emergency ends. Right now, it is a Storm Team 6 alert day across central Indiana. Todd Clausen is standing by with what you need to know.
Yeah, and there's 2 waves of weather that's going to move through. The first wave, this afternoon, that is not severe, but obviously need to alert you to that as well. Very similar to what we experienced yesterday. And then the severe threat is going to ramp up this evening. The driest part of the day, that is right now throughout much of the morning. Once we get to the afternoon, a steady rain is going to develop for most of us. Comes down heavy at times as well. And then it's this evening, probably after 7, 8 o'clock onward, that will run into the potential of some severe storms across the area. The severity of the severe potential going to kind of be determined by that first round of rain and how long it sticks around. But Storm Team 6 radar is quiet right now. No threat of any rainfall here this morning, although it's still damp, it's dreary, a little bit of patchy fog out there. Could be a little bit of drizzle that the radar is just not picking up. But what we'll wait is this batch of rain that's moving now into central Missouri. This is going to continue to move off towards the northeast, and you'll be able to track this right across central Indiana. If you have the interactive radar on your phone with the Storm Shield app, we'll inherit that. So that's not really going to be too much of a challenge forecasting as it's going to start to make its way into the area. The issue in the forecast is how does the severe threat materialize after all that rainfall that we see with that first round of rain that comes through. The Storm Prediction Center really upgraded the threat. Yesterday, the whole state was under the marginal risk. Now you see a good chunk from Rockville to Indy down to Bloomington and Seymour under the enhanced risk, slight risk for most of the rest of central Indiana. The main threat would be damaging wind and hail. Can't rule out the chance of some isolated tornadoes. The timing, 8 p.m. through 3 a.m. So a lot of the potential for at least a tornadic activity will be while you're sleeping. And if you go to the RTV6 Facebook page or the website, Kyle Mounts did a great little piece on what you need to be prepared for tornadoes that arrive at night. So check that out. But here's the rain that's going to be coming in throughout the afternoon hours as it comes in. It's heavy at times. Could be a few isolated thunderstorms, but this is the non-severe aspect of the weather for the day today. Then we get a little bit of a break, and then we'll watch for some isolated storms to ramp up throughout the overnight hours. And this is when we'll have the potential for some of the severe storms to come through as the cold front starts to approach. So everybody, I always know, kind of gravitates towards the tornado risk. So here's the percentage. It's about a 10% chance from Bloomington over towards Terre Haute down towards Sullivan. It's about a 5% chance for the rest of central Indiana. I know when you see 5 and 10%, you don't think that that's all that much, but by tornado standards, once you're starting to get to the 10% category, that's a pretty good bet, at least for maybe an isolated tornado here or there. Once the front goes through, temperatures fall tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday. Temperatures are going to be much colder. We'll be in the 40s with plenty of sunshine, then back into the 60s next week.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. We are keeping a close eye on traffic this morning. Now, here's a look on I-465 near Michigan Road on the north side. Here you can see traffic is moving along up to speed, both eastbound and westbound on your north side interstate, and visibility is good. But we're going to travel just slightly east of this spot. This is at I-465 near Westfield Boulevard, and you can see here from our camera, we have some fog out there, so we know it is patchy. Use caution as you're heading out the door this morning because it may come upon you before you expect it. So use the low beam headlights, and it looks like traffic's moving along smoothly around the metro area. That is great news as you're heading out the door early this morning.
The next stop for convicted rapist Harvey Weinstein is reportedly a maximum security prison in upstate New York. The disgraced movie mogul has been assigned to the Wen Correctional Facility just east of Buffalo. The prison also holds John Lennon's murderer, Mark David Chapman. Weinstein has been sentenced to 23 years in prison for sexual assault and rape involving 2 women. The 67-year-old will be held at Wen until officials decide which facility is best suited for him.
Microsoft is backpedaling on a leak that went out on its website, and it claimed that their new Xbox console would be out by Thanksgiving. Microsoft says that was a mistake, but it did not release a new date. They only confirmed it would launch sometime during the holiday season. The newest Xbox was supposed to be shown off at the Game Developers Conference. That event was postponed due to the coronavirus. A price on the console has not been released either, but experts expect most of them to cost about $500.
Sports and concerts at schools nationwide have been canceled due to the coronavirus. After the break, what one a cappella choir did to make sure they got their time to shine. We'll be right back.
Those free windows really cost you.
Like many schools across the country, the coronavirus outbreak shut down class and activities at Chino Valley School District in California. That included their high school choral festival, but that didn't stop the music. Some students turned to YouTube instead to deliver this amazing a cappella performance. Okay, if that doesn't get you feeling good this morning, I don't know what will. Their social media version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow has since gone viral. The singers say they are happy with the reaction and that they could spread some hope and cheer during this difficult time. Sadly, though, no rainbows here in central Indiana today. Right, Todd?
Probably not. We need the sunshine for that, and I don't think we'll see much in the way of sunshine today. But we do have quite a bit of rain heading our way. Now, this morning is the dry part of the day. This is your opportunity to get out and about for that walk through the neighborhood if you would like. Still kind of a damp feel out there right now, but no rain falling from the sky. The rain that's heading our way will track from the Central Plains there into central Indiana, and then later on this evening, that is when we are going to bring in the potential for severe storms. So the rain comes in two waves. The first round, non-severe, just some heavy rainfall. Temperatures in the 50s to the south right now. Those 50s will work their way northward throughout the day, and we'll all climb into the 60s this afternoon with a few of you in southern locations getting up into the 70s. We'll talk more about the severe threat, though, that's heading our way coming up in just a few minutes. Time now is 5:27. Stay with us. You're watching Good Morning Indiana.
Today at 10 on RTV6. This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now at 5:30 here on Good Morning Indiana, the Hoosier State is reporting more cases of the coronavirus. We're breaking down those numbers and taking a look at the next steps that Governor Holcomb is expected to take to slow the spread of this disease. And with most gyms closed, you may find it hard to stay active. Our Kelsey Anderson is working for you this morning with tips that'll get you moving while you're stuck at home. First here at 5:30, we do want to welcome you into Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. It is a Storm Team 6 alert day, so if you're hoping to get outside and get moving outdoors today, not looking too good, Todd.
Yeah, you know, you're just going to have to kind of pick your times. This morning it's damp, it's a little dreary, but we really don't have much in the way of rainfall. That's probably your best opportunity. And then later on this evening, there's probably a window maybe in between the rain that will move in and the threat of severe weather with that second round that I've been talking about all morning before that arrives. The umbrella definitely needed today if you are going to be out and about. The rain jacket as well. One of the issues we do have this morning on the roadways, visibility down only a quarter of a mile right now in Muncie, that darker gray up near the Sheridan area. As you work your way up US 31 north of Indianapolis, reduced as well. Lafayette, 3/4 of a mile. Not too bad here in the metro area. The clouds are in place, but it's dry this morning. No heavy rainfall is making its way through central Indiana, but we are expecting rain to make its way into our area later on this afternoon and into the evening hours. Once we get to late tonight and early tomorrow morning, that's when the severe weather threat arrives. So it's a bit of a 1-2 punch heading our way. We'll talk more about it coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thanks. We are keeping a close eye on your roads and the visibilities out there that you mentioned. Here's a look right now at I-465 and Fall Creek Road. This is on the northeast side. You can see traffic is moving along up to speed, and you can see pretty well from this camera here, but it's a little bit different stories. We travel north from here. This is I-69 and Fishers at 96th Street, and you can see the fog out there this morning, so use those low beam headlights and leave plenty of space between you and the car in front of you. The good news, though, right now as you're heading out there, it's not too busy, so you shouldn't run into any major issues in your commute.
The number of new coronavirus cases continues to increase across the Hoosier State. Since Tuesday, there have been 9 new confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Indiana, bringing the state total to 39. The number of Indiana counties with confirmed cases is now 19. This is a chart of the total of cases in Indiana over the last 5 days. We started the week with 19 cases, and as we just reported, the The current number stands at 39. We do expect an update from the health department later today. We also expect to learn more today from Governor Holcomb about the state's response to the coronavirus. The governor and state health commissioner, Christina Box, are speaking at 1 o'clock this afternoon. You can watch that announcement live here on RTV6 and streaming on our RTV6 Facebook page and the RTV6 app.
Well, the kickoff to the month of May, as we know it, is now officially canceled. Every year, thousands of people take part in the 500 mini marathon racing through Indianapolis in early May. Organizers say this year's mini event will move to virtual races. If you're interested, you can get more information on how to participate right now. Simon Property Group is closing all of its retail properties across the country through March 29th. Simon owns several malls and other shopping centers in central Indiana, including the Fashion Mall, Castleton Square, and Circle Center. The company is based here in Indianapolis, but owns and operates hundreds of properties all around the world.
A big increase in Hoosiers seeking unemployment benefits is being blamed on jobs lost due to the coronavirus outbreak. If you need to file, you're asked not to go to Work One offices. You can apply online at unemployment.in.gov, or you can call one of the two numbers on your screen, 1-800-891-6499 or 317-232-7560. Be prepared for long wait times, possibly very long. If you're not sure if you're eligible for benefits, the Department of Workforce Development has this advice.
It's really best to go ahead and file, and like I said, read the questions carefully, answer them honestly, and let us make the decision about eligibility.
According to the state, the average unemployment payment has been around $296 a week.
Several churches in Morgan County are working together to meet the needs of families right now in Morgan County. Churches in Mission is an organization that partners with area churches to provide food and hygiene products for the underserved in Morgan County. And with the COVID-19 pandemic, those items are in great need. Right now, the organization is operating 2 drive-thrus for any families in the community who need support. So we stopped by their location on Indiana Street in downtown Mooresville, where volunteers loaded carts full of groceries and helped people in need load their cars.
We're seeing a major increase in our demand for what we are providing, the resources that we have. So we're trying to ask everyone here in the community to come alongside us.
Well, if you're a person in need in Morgan County, you can find more information on their hours and locations right now on the indychannel.com/coronavirus. And if you're able to donate or volunteer, we also posted how you can connect with this mission.
With hundreds and thousands of kids unexpectedly out of school, school districts are getting a little creative with how they're supporting families during this time. One local school district is providing meals in a way that you can't miss if you're driving by. Our Alyssa Donovan has all the details. Hey, Alyssa.
Good morning, you guys. And there are about 5,500 students in the Plainfield School District, and some of those kids really depend on school for their daily meals. So the district has gotten creative with how they're getting breakfast and lunch to any student that needs it in the community.
This is the Quaker Break food truck.
There you go, buddy. There's yogurt in there, too. We are serving peanut butter and Crustables, and with the allergies, it's ham and turkey, cheese, like a Subway sandwich. There you go, my dear. There you go. Enjoy.
And Pop-Tarts or yogurt for tomorrow morning's
and
breakfast.
They get cookies or chips.
The friendly faces in the window, Leanne and Tammy, both cooks for Plainfield Community School District.
Oh, I love this thing.
We love the bus. Yes, we love the bus.
You know, it was sitting there at the bus garage, and so why not put it to use serving meals?
The repurposed school bus is typically used as part of a life skills program for high school students.
They're learning customer service skills, how to greet somebody when they approach them.
But as COVID-19 causes closures, it's now the mobile feeding unit for Plainfield Community Schools.
Hi, guys. Everybody get one?
Families adjusting to e-learning, grateful for the food and a reason to step outside.
Sat at the kitchen table this morning. The lesson plan for my son was there a little after 8 o'clock. And we began right away. He's enjoying it, and we take a break about now. And
the bus is one of 4 vehicles circulating the district to feed thousands of kids stuck at home.
Thank you. You're welcome. Come back to see us tomorrow, okay? Okay.
But this one is definitely the most eye-catching.
There we go. I'll be over here. Next stop.
And that mobile feeding unit, as well as the other 3 mobile feeding units, will be operating the rest of this week and next week. Then the district goes on spring break. They're going to reassess at that time if sack lunch services are still needed after that week. If you have a kid in the Plainfield School District and you want to take advantage of these mobile feeding units, you can check our website, theindychannel.com. We have the schedule posted there. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Very cool, Alyssa. Thank you so much. It is 5:38. Well, with most gyms across the state of Indiana being closed, a lot of us are having a hard time finding a way to stay active and maintain that healthy lifestyle while also practicing social distancing. So our Kelsey Anderson joins us this morning with what you can do in the comfort of your own home.
While a lot of us right now are social distancing, gyms are closed, but we have all this time at home and we still want to stay active, not only for our mental health, but also for our physical health. And I'm here with 2 exercise specialists from Hancock Wellness, and they're going to show us how we can do some workouts here in our own houses.
Yeah, so we're going to take you through just a few exercises. So we're going to start out with just an upper body exercise. So real simple, we're going to go into our push-up. So Cody's going to get down on the ground, hands are right under his shoulders, feet are about shoulder width apart. He's going to control his chest down towards the floor, keeping his elbows in, pushing himself back up to the top, and going to repeat until he reaches close to failure. So that could be 10 reps for somebody, it could be 20 reps for somebody, but a little bit lighter weight, lighter resistance. Then we're going to move into a lower body exercise. So we're actually going to use the couch here. He's going to put his shoulder blades right at the edge. He's going to push through his heels. He's going to bring his hips up and squeeze his butt muscles at the top and then control back down. So this is a hip thrust. And then what I'm going to have Cody do, I'm going to have you bring one leg up, go single leg. So good way to kind of incorporate your glutes, your hamstrings, and a little bit of your quads. And then the very last piece, we're going to have just a full body exercise. So I'm going to give Cody these dumbbells here. If you don't have dumbbells, you can really use anything else that has weight. He's going to bring them to the top of his shoulders. He's going to squat down and then come up and press up overhead at the top. Just a good full body exercise, incorporating multiple muscle groups.
Perfect. And of course, you can use other pieces of equipment in your house, whether it be, milk jugs or cans of soup or anything like that. And of course, a lot of gyms right now are also offering online classes, whether it be on Facebook Live or through their app. So if you are someone who's already a member of a gym, you can of course utilize those. But if you're not, you can utilize these exercises that Cody and Erica gave us today. For now, send it back to you in the studio.
Kelsey, thank you. The coronavirus outbreak has not only shut down high schools, but shut down their athletic programs as well. That's why the Mount Vernon High School football team is getting creative with their workouts to stay in shape. The Marauders claimed their first ever regional title last year, and they're looking to keep the momentum going. To stay on top of their game, players are finding some traditional and not so traditional ways to work out. And they're sending videos of their workouts to Coach Mike Kirshner.
The one that really got me going was our punter, Joel. He had the one video of him air squatting the cinder blocks. And then there's another video of him attempting to power clean the front loader that was off of a truck. So he was picking up the front loader and pushing it down. And I'm watching it going, man, this is textbook.
You got to do what you got to do. With spring break and a 2-week coronavirus hiatus, Mount Vernon isn't due back to school until April 13th, but it's safe to say whenever they return, it's clear they will be ready. And we are ready for today's weather because of Storm Team 6's Todd Clausen. You are going to tell us all about what we can expect today.
Yeah, obviously there's a lot going on with the coronavirus and now the weather element as we go throughout the day today. So stay connected. All your news with the RTV6 app, but then the Storm Shield app, a great tool. I've been mentioning it, but this is our first real decent shot of severe weather so far this spring season. This would alert you first to any watches that get issued, and then eventually any warnings that get issued. And there will be the potential, I think, for some thunderstorm warnings and maybe a few tornado warnings later on this afternoon. So think of today in 2 parts as far as the storms come. When the first rain arrives by late morning, early afternoon, that is just some heavy downpours. The severe threat is really later this evening into the early morning hours on Friday. When that threat arrives, wind by far is going to be the biggest threat, but can't rule out the chance of a few isolated tornadoes. And then I've highlighted flooding here as well. A lot of rain yesterday. We're going to get quite a bit of rainfall through the middle half of the day today, and then additional storms later on this evening. The flooding potential probably more localized than widespread, but nonetheless, definitely a possibility. We'll talk more about the timeline of these severe storms coming up in Maine Weather in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. The federal government is offering some relief to taxpayers. Straight ahead, what you need to know about filing and tax payment deadlines.
And colleges and universities across the country have changed the way they operate due to the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. Straight ahead, how the Association of American Colleges and Universities is helping both schools and students navigate those changes.
And here's a live look at traffic right now down on the southeast side. I-74, this is a look near Thompson Road where traffic is moving along up to speed. Visibility looks good in this direction. We'll continue to monitor your roads as you're heading out the door this Thursday. It's 5:43. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Help you move past the pain of psoriasis.
As of today, there are no new community-spread coronavirus cases in Wuhan, China, where the sickness started. China's health ministry says that also includes the surrounding Hubei province. However, there have been 34 new cases detected in people arriving from other countries. This is the first time no local cases have been reported in Wuhan since the outbreak began last year.
Right now, a program is in the works to push back the due date for federal tax bills. Taxpayers still need to file their federal returns by the national April 15th deadline, but there will be an extra 90 days to pay money that's owed to the government. It applies to people who owe less than $1 million and businesses that owe less than $10 million. The new deadline is July 15th.
Colleges and universities across the state and country have moved to online-only classes because of the coronavirus. That has students asking questions like if they're getting their money back. There are also questions if the online course that is now pass-fail will have the same integrity on their transcript. The president of the Association of American Colleges and Universities says many schools are asking their alumni to give money to create funds for emergency travel, housing, and food insecurity. Schools had to act quickly to move classes online, which is also raising questions among students about the quality of their classes.
Moving forward, we need to think about how we can preemptively address these issues in the future, because this will not be the last crisis that we face.
The Association of American Colleges and Universities is sharing tools with faculty to help modify their courses to work better online. The group says schools will need to think about developing curriculums in the future that can be delivered online or face-to-face.
For the first time in 124 years, spring is here, only a few days early, though. Typically, the spring equinox happens on March 20th or 21st, but this year it's happening today on the 19th. Weather experts say it involves leap years adding up over time. The equinox is the exact moment when the sun's rays shine directly on the equator. That's going to happen at 11:50 tonight. There will be nearly 12 hours of daylight today. And by daylight, we mean not sunshine, because it is a Storm Team 6 alert day. Todd, we have a lot going on in the forecast.
Yeah, there is. You know, there's going to be a lot of rainfall heading our way again. This on the heels of what we went through yesterday. But today we're going to add the element of the potential for severe weather, but it comes later in the day after another round of pretty heavy rainfall. So let me try to break this all down for you. First things first, you have to deal with some visibility issues in a lot of places. Not so much Indianapolis, but get to Lafayette over towards Muncie, and in between, visibilities are down below 3/4 of a mile. It's a half mile in Bloomington. So if you do have to get on the roadways this morning, that's kind of your more immediate concern, the potential here for some dense fog. There's some drizzle out there as well, but Storm Team 6 radar overall right now is pretty quiet with any substantial rainfall. That is not happening, but the clouds firmly in place. The first wave of rain that we deal with today is off to our west. This is going to be making its way into the St. Louis area shortly, and we'll be able to track this as it makes its way towards central Indiana. So as I always say, we're inheriting this from western locations, so we'll be able to track it in compared to later on when we deal with the severe weather. We'll kind of be seeing those storms develop across the area on more of an isolated basis. First enhanced risk for central Indiana so far this severe weather season. It includes Rockville, Indianapolis, Bloomington, and Seymour. The rest of central Indiana under the slight risk for severe weather. The difference is a little better potential for some isolated tornadoes within the enhanced risk area. But the main threat would be damaging wind and hail for all of us. The timing is 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. Let me walk you through the day using TrueCast. We're dry through about mid-morning, and then once we get to mid-morning into the afternoon, very similar to yesterday, steady rain develops heavy at times across the area, and then that will taper off as we work our way into the evening hours. Once we get past 8 o'clock, the chance of the severe weather ramps up. Now, it's not a slam dunk guarantee like some setups. It's not going to be a line of storms sweeping across the state. We're going to have to watch them start to develop across the area. The problem is the timing coming in at night. Many of you are asleep, so that's why I want you to be prepared. Have that Storm Shield app downloaded or your weather radio ready just in case there are a few isolated tornadoes as we work our way throughout the overnight hours. Again, the best potential for that would be across southern locations. That Storm Shield app, by the way, is completely free. You can download it free from the App Store and customize it to your location. This little band of rain you see here tomorrow morning, that's the actual cold front that will be going through. The tornado risk, again, highlighted. A little more enhanced risk from Terre Haute to Bloomington to Sullivan. Can't rule out the chance of an isolated tornado. Crawfordsville over in towards the Greensburg area, so that's something we'll have to keep a close eye on. The warmer air is starting to move in, 50s to the south. I think everybody climbs up into the lows to mid-60s later on this evening before that cold front arrives. Temperatures fall throughout the day. Tomorrow, once that cold front passes, after a high about 61 degrees. The weekend, finally a chance to dry out, but it will be much colder, Lauren, with high temperatures in the mid-40s. But look at that fog right now there on the north side of town.
Yeah, this is Todd on I-69 near State Road 9. And you can see traffic here to our northeast is pretty quiet. So that is the good news with the fog out there this morning. But we do have the reduced visibility, so use those low beam headlights. Leave plenty of space between you and the car in front of you. You can see here both northbound and southbound. You shouldn't run into any delays.
2 service workers in Indianapolis will get paychecks for another week thanks to one very generous customer. The Gallery Pastry Shop in South Broad Ripple says a customer picked up a carryout order on Tuesday and left a $1,000 tip. The general manager says the tip will let the shop pay 2 employees for 1 more week. Ariel Hendrickson says, of course, most people cannot afford to be so generous, but she wants you to know your business also makes a big difference.
I want people to know that we really are so fragile. We count on every single day a projected revenue each day. It gets us into the next day. And so when everything closes, we don't have the dining service to offer. It's so helpful to have so many people coming in to order, placing deliveries, tipping our staff, and just really showing us support here.
The gallery had to lay off several employees this week. Hendrickson encourages the public to continue to support local businesses.
Something beautiful from something bad. Coming up, the sweet moment shared between an Italian couple under quarantine, and it was all captured on camera. It's 5:53. We'll be right back.
Get rallies delivered.
Italians finding moments of joy during stressful times. Earlier this week, one neighborhood came together to pass the time while under lockdown. As one neighbor projected the classic American film Top Hat onto the apartment building across the way, an older couple could be seen dancing to the song Cheek to Cheek. As of Tuesday, Italy has more than 31 cases of COVID-19. Still, people finding time to come together and spread joy. We do want to encourage social distancing still, even though that is a lovely moment. Todd's going to take a check at our weather.
Yeah, our first issue is visibility this morning, down to a quarter mile in Muncie as well as Bloomington. Not as bad here in the metro area. Just use caution if you do have to take to the roadways. Our second issue will be arriving around the noon hour, and that's the rain you see off to our southwest. As that rain comes in, it'll be heavy at times. However, that will not be the severe threat we've been talking about for the day today. That is going to be late tonight into the early morning hours on Friday before the severe threat arrives. Temperatures eventually today into the 60s and 70s. We'll talk more about the severe threat for central Indiana coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues. The time now is 5:57. We're back in just a few minutes.